First, I'd like to acknowledge elected officials who are joining us today. We have Mayor of the City of Vancouver, Anne McInerney Ogle. Tanisha Harris, Southwest Washington Outreach Director on behalf of U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell. Glenn Young, Clark County Councilor representing District 1. Ellen Teistober, Council Member with City of Vancouver. Are there any other elected officials in the gathering that we have not acknowledged yet? Representative
from Senator Murray's office.
Oh, thank you. Representative from Senator Murray's office, thank you for joining. So, a huge thank you to Team Construction for being here today and for their generous donation to make the grand opening possible. Now, I'd like to welcome to the stage Duana Ricks-Johnson, Resident Commissioner with VHA Board of Commissioners, disabled U.S. Navy veteran, and Colville Lakes Tribal Spiritual Leader and Elder, to open the ceremony with the offering of the land acknowledgement.
Oh my goodness, before I start today, what about global warming? I thought, yeah, I'll go from one meeting to the next. I'll just walk, right? Yeah, so pardon my appearance. I walked here today. So, again, my name is Duana Ricks-Johnson. I am a U.S. Navy veteran. I'm from the Colville tribe, Lakes Band. And I just wanted to let you guys all know that I'm being mindful that I'm not from any of the tribes that I'm going to tell you about today. I'm not here to speak for them, nor do I represent them. I did do my best to do my research, and I really encourage all of you guys to do the same. So, I'm calling attention to the fact that we are on the traditional lands of the indigenous people of the lower Columbia River. This includes Cowlitz, Chinook, Salish, Willapa, Molalla, Umpqua, Kalapuya, Klickitat, Palouse, Wenatchee, Wasco, and Clackamas. To my understanding, indigenous people have used these lands for subsistence, daily life, ceremony, and gatherings for trade. That being said, this land we're gathered on today has reached beyond colonization. We First people still exist, practice our cultural and spiritual ways, and continue to live on these lands. Since time immemorial, these lands were and are honored and respected by the first people who stewarded them. This environment provides a variety of resources to sustain a healthy life, such as salmon, elk, camas, clams, berries, cedar, and an abundance of water. Indigenous people lived in a reciprocal way with this land, the waterways, and other indigenous peoples. It's really important that I convey that indigenous peoples populated this region prior to colonial contact and had their own language, culture, governments, communities, laws, and spiritual practices. These sacred ways were disrupted by the colonization, where indigenous peoples have endured treaties that continue to this day not to be honored, policies and court decisions made about us, but not with us. Along with the introduction to diseases, and most horribly, children who were physically and forcibly removed and put into religious boarding schools, and like me, in foster care, far from the traditional homeland and people, severing parental and cultural ties and thereby forcing their religions in order to dominate not only these first peoples, but these lands as well. Although the purpose of colonization was to eliminate indigenous peoples, It was not fully achieved. And we, the first people, continue to show resiliency by existing and working and thriving in this community. We use our traditional healing, our culture, spirituality, and connectedness to this land. Let us take a moment to acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the indigenous peoples of the lower Columbia River. And at this time, I'm also asking that we pay respect to any elders that are with us today, as well as veterans. In closing, and acknowledging that we First People are still here and have continued to remain on or near these lands, it's equally important to acknowledge these lands we are on today remain sacred, as they always have. Because no matter where you stand, you're on stolen lands. Thank you.
Lincoln Place 2 proves an invaluable resource to the community, providing affordable housing and supportive services to our most vulnerable neighbors who have lived outside. Vancouver Housing Authority extends a heartfelt thank you to the funders and partners for their commitment demonstrated to invest resources into this project to fill the need for permanent supportive housing in this community. Let us thank those who have and are making this project possible, including the Housing Authority of the City of Vancouver, the City of Vancouver Affordable Housing Fund, Clark County through the Mental Health Sales Tax, Washington State Housing Finance Commission, Key Community Development Corporation, Washington State Department of Commerce, Key Bank, Access Architecture, Team Construction, Share, Peace Health, and Council for the Homeless. So let's give them a round of applause. Now it is my honor to welcome Mayor of the City of Vancouver, Anne McInerney-Ogle.
Thank you, Kit. That was lovely. Well, we are absolutely honored to be with you. This is an exciting time, and I want to thank the Vancouver Housing Authority. I'd like to think that the Vancouver Housing Authority belongs to the City of Vancouver, but it doesn't. Andy works for all of us, and all of us throughout the entire Clark County area. So this is not just to commemorate the opening of Lincoln Place 2, but to formally acknowledge the expansion of Lincoln Place and the overwhelming need that it has and will continue to serve, and to celebrate some of those unique partnerships. And you heard Kit list a long list of individuals, but I want to draw your attention to some of the names that are on here. Key Bank, of course, the City of Vancouver with our Affordable Housing Fund that was approved by the voters to tax themselves. Thank you to Clark County Mental Sales Tax. Thank you, Glenn, for that. Department of Commerce. We have Share, CMAR, Peace Health, et cetera, but at the top, it says Vancouver Housing Authority. Andy, thank you. This would not happen without your agency understanding the need and doing this expansion. Let's give him a big round of applause. When we talk about the city's Affordable Housing Fund, we knew, and so did our voters, and they voted themselves $10 million a year for 10 years. To help with affordable housing. And so that partnership with Vancouver Housing Authority is absolutely wonderful, because our city values safe, affordable housing, and when public funds are added into the mix, it's a very powerful tool to address homelessness. Together we've built something far greater than just a building, although it's an absolutely beautiful building team. Yeah, you did a nice job. Color's a little weird, though. I noticed it, yeah. That's okay. We'll talk about that later. But you truly have created a place where stability, support, and community have come together, housing for individuals who have experienced or are at risk of homelessness. Yes, their rents are subsidized through the project-based voucher from Vancouver Housing Authority, but more importantly, these individuals have access to case management and supportive services. Participation is voluntary, but they have jumped in to do it. They're here to promote independent living and a positive lifestyle, that connection to essential resources, healthcare, employment, recovery programs. And this model recognizes that housing is a first step and that true stability comes when people are supported in the building and their lives with dignity and with health and with that sense of belonging. In Vancouver, like so many communities, we see the growing impact of homelessness, and Ty and I see it and hear about it at our city council meetings often. The personal stories of hardships and the struggles to find affordable housing, securing a safe place to sleep and to store your belongings, to get your meal, and simply to feel at home. So the expansion of this place represents hope. Hope in the face of those struggles, and it represents what's possible when we come together, whether you're a nonprofit or a for-profit or a local agency or elected individuals like the county. And thank you, county, for jumping in with all of your support, but also all of the community members that see that tackling a challenge like this is complex, but it's not insurmountable. We're not solving homelessness overnight, but we're taking it one little step at a time, and we're making progress. We have creativity, and Sam, with your thoughtfulness upstairs, the compassion of all of you, and that shining commitment that says we can do this little at a time. It's an ambitious collaboration, innovation, and investment for real change. And so thank you so much for your support, for being here on the project, for your dedication to our most vulnerable residents, and for your commitment to a very healthy, livable community that we're working so hard to develop. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. And now, please welcome Tanisha Harris, Southwest Washington Outreach Director for U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell.
Good afternoon, everybody. Get my notes here. Thank you, Kit, and thank you, Duana. I'm Tanisha Harris, the Southwest Washington Outreach Director for Senator Maria Cantwell. I'm happy to be here today for another housing grant opening representing the Senator, this time for Leakin Place 2. Senator Cantwell sends her regrets that she could not attend. The Senator would like to thank the entire Vancouver Housing Authority staff for all your hard work and dedication, to all the community partners, stakeholders, Clark County Council for the Homeless, SHARE, Peace Health, and the City of Vancouver. Thank you for your collaboration and commitment in providing supportive, affordable housing to those in our community. Leakin Place 2 is important. Leakin Place 2 is in part made possible thanks to the $9.4 million from a low-income housing tax credit, covering 9% of the cost of this project. Senator Cantwell is a proud supporter of the low-income housing tax credit, and that is why this past April she reintroduced the Affordable Housing Credit Improvement Act, a bipartisan bill that would expand the existing low-income housing tax credit program that includes specific provisions that directly support supportive housing initiatives that better serve groups that are often require supportive housing, such as our veterans, formerly homeless youth, those exiting homelessness, extremely low-income individuals, and victims, and most importantly, survivors of domestic violence. Boost financial feasibility for state housing agencies, and increase the number of affordable homes built here in the United States. While we know we have a housing crisis we urgently need to address, we also know that we must provide housing options that are practical and sustainable for individuals and families. Building more housing like Leakin Place 2 can help bring down the cost of housing and strengthen our neighborhoods and communities. Senator Cantwell applauds and thanks all of you here in Vancouver and throughout Clark County who are willing to take on the housing crisis, offers support, hope, and empowerment to those in need and come together to do what is right by all citizens. Again, congratulations to all of you who made today possible. With warmest regards, United States Senator Maria Cantwell.
Thank you, Tanisha and Senator Cantwell. Our next speaker has supported youth experiencing homelessness for many years here in Vancouver and now through her work at the state level. I'm pleased to welcome Annie Colton, Youth Homelessness Demonstration Program Specialist for the Office of Homeless Youth with the Washington State Department of Commerce.
I knew this would be a thing. So I apologize first and foremost because Housing Trust could not be here. And so they wanted to send representatives to support this work. We want to thank Cher and Vancouver Housing Authority and Kit for inviting us. It's not often that we get out of the office and get to celebrate the wins. So we appreciate this very much. And like I said, Housing Trust Fund folks couldn't be here, but they wanted to send their warmest regards and appreciation for the important work that's being recognized today. At Commerce, we're proud to fund and work with so many committed partners to ensure safe, affordable housing is within reach for all. We often talk about homelessness as if it's an issue to solve. But more than that, and most importantly, we're talking about folks that are experiencing homelessness and living through homelessness. And that homelessness is deeply traumatic. That trauma, that daily reoccurring trauma, increases the risk for behavioral health and substance use abuses. My apologies. I was thinking about the trauma too much. Lincoln Place offers a real solution to this by providing housing, supportive services, and for the first time for many folks, a home. I've worked with many folks that get that opportunity and get to open those doors for them. And I will tell you, the greatest joy is giving them a key and food to put in their refrigerators. Funders don't often get that. And I just feel grateful to be on a broad spectrum of all levels. This is crucial, right? Folks exiting homelessness have limited access to behavioral health services. We're all here because we know permanent supportive housing works. No matter what you're hearing, it works. It's evidence-based practice and one of our most effective tools at reducing chronic homelessness. Vancouver, like Kit said, is my home. And while I work for the state, Vancouver will always be my home. And this is more than just opening a building. It's a huge step in meeting the needs of our most vulnerable neighbors. It's opening doors to safety and a chance at healing and a place to call home. And it's a real impact at saving lives, especially as I heard people get to move in before the winter. So thank you for including us. This is a big joy. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. I have the pleasure of seeing the life-changing work done every day by our next speaker and his team for the residents at Lincoln Place 1 and soon to be Lincoln Place 2 as well. Please welcome JJ Nsarimu, Housing Achievement and Enrichment Program Director for Cher.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're opening doors to possibility, dignity, and new beginnings. Lincoln Place 2 isn't just a building, it's a community, and that's what we envision. It's a promise to 40 individuals, 40 neighbors who will step into new chapters of their lives. From the very beginning, the VHA team construction have worked so hard to make this vision a reality, and we get the pleasure of preparing for the individuals to come and we serve them. They didn't just build walls, they built opportunity, they built hope, and now we're prepared with the case managers to help our residents thrive when they move in. Here, residents won't simply receive keys to move into their home. They will gain case management, one-on-one case management, and this is not just holding their hands. It's a partnership, and hopefully to help them overcome the barriers that have held them for all these years. And the end result is to live an independent and dignified life. They also gain life skills training, employment access, employment training, writing resumes, and just giving them that confidence they can actually go out and work and be productive. They also gain access to medical services through the clinic, through our partnership with Peace Health. And that's huge for homeless folks because they have a stigma walking into a big hospital, but here we have passionate nurse and the doctors who treat them like humans and with patience and just help them gain trust in the medical services. It's all a wrap around support that transforms hopefully those four walls and their units into a proper home. Just imagine after many years, nights without a safe place, you're given keys to your apartment. And then tomorrow you wake up, you look your home, and know that this is your space. And that's powerful to me because I witnessed that last year. We had a gentleman move in. He's about 60 years old. We gave him the keys, and he told me something I'll never forget. He says, in all his 60 years, this is the first time he's called a place his home. And what a privilege to be part of that, but also what a tragedy that this 60-year-old man has never had a place to be home. And hopefully Lincoln Place 2 gives that dream to the people who will be moving in here. So Lincoln Place 2 isn't just bricks and mortar, although it is. It's hope, it's dignity, it's stability, it's healing. And it proves that something powerful, that homelessness can be ended or a big attempt to solve it. And it takes a village. As you can see, it's not one person. It's so many people that had to come together to put this vision to a reality. So to everyone who made this possible, thank you. Partners, funders, builders, case managers, thank you so much. And together we're changing lives, and we can't wait to receive all the people who will be coming in here. Thank you so much.
And now I'd like to introduce Sasha Frankel, Project Executive for Access Architects, the project's architectural partner, whose approach has incorporated resident feedback and trauma-informed design to create a space that is both beautiful and honors our residents' needs and experiences.
Thank you, Kat. When we were designing Lincoln Place 2, there were a few ideas that we wanted to keep front of mind. They primarily revolved around three concepts: empowerment of residents to have a sense of control and autonomy of their space, building design and detail that promotes durability when feasible, and ease of maintenance and replaceability in other cases, and utilizing intentional aesthetic decisions to create a space that promotes healing. These concepts tie back to trauma-informed design principles and are employed to help residents succeed in their new homes. This was important to our team. After all, homelessness, accompanied with its dangers and stresses, is itself a traumatic experience. Providing means of personal control in the physical environment has great symbolic and psychological significance for folks transitioning from homelessness and becomes a stepping stone for recovery from past trauma. Each unit entrance has a shelf along the corridor, encouraging residents to express themselves and personalize their space before you even cross the threshold, and front porch lights further accentuate the individuality of each unit. Within each space, residents are provided with a bed frame, and dresser, which can be arranged as they please. Heating and cooling are also individually controlled by residents via heat pump mini-split units. And then these units are further connected to sensors in the windows that will automatically shut off when they shut off the units when windows are open to promote sustainability and to help minimize operating concerns. Speaking of, from a practical standpoint, many in this room understand the challenges of maintaining and operating permanent supportive housing. For this project specifically, we had the benefit of gleaning lessons learned from the neighboring Lincoln Place project, constructed nearly a decade ago. Carefully planned features were implemented to mitigate damage to surrounding units and disruption to residents' lives due to events such as flooding or fires within individual units. Working with VHA, Share, and Team Construction, we devised a strategy to utilize flooring that turned up and becomes wall base, creating a bathtub effect that prevents water from spilling to lower level units. Floor drains were included in both bathrooms and kitchens to safely drain water away and prevent flooding in other units. Timers were integrated into showers so that if needed, residents could step out of the shower and not worry about whether they turned the water off or not. Fiber reinforced panels along the corridors and abuse-resistant wallboard within units will help ensure day-to-day wear and tear, help endure daily wear and tear while also minimizing the visual impact. It's well documented that aesthetics and color affect mood and well-being of a building's occupants. As you walk through the building, you'll notice that the residential corridor on each floor has its own color designation to assist with wayfinding, with tones derived from nature: blue on the 4th floor, yellow on the 3rd, green on the 2nd, and an umber tone on the 1st. To further accentuate individuality, we employed a gradient of those tones at unit entries to help residents identify their unit from their neighbors. These colors are also complemented by natural wood tones and elements, in some cases in the form of simple wood frame for the unit entries, and in other cases we elected to leave exposed tongue-and-groove wood structure in the corridors to add visual richness. Where possible, the team strives to avoid the stark clinical feel of plain white walls in favor of something that could help residents feel more comfortable. Similarly, from the exterior, we opted for colors that were natural to the Pacific Northwest, both in the green hues of the massing of the upper floors and the warm neutral tones on the ground floor. These were complemented by a mural evocative of mountains and rivers nearby. Our hope is that these decisions ultimately promote long-term success and independence of residents in Lincoln Place too. Of course, none of this was created in a vacuum and would not be possible without our partners in this process. Thank you to VHA for sharing in and helping drive this vision, and thank you to Team Construction for helping make this vision a reality.
Thank you, Sasha. And now Aidan Willis, Vice President of Team Construction, who built the beautiful building we're standing in today.
Thank you. So, sorry, bear with me. I'm a builder, not a speaker. So for those that don't know us, Team Constructions has been a local general contractor in Vancouver and Clark County since 1991. We've been working with the City of Vancouver and VHA for almost all that time. For us, it's always a privilege to get to partner with all the public servants who focus every day on making our city a better place for everyone who calls it home. Now, as you can see from everyone here today, the Lincoln Place 2 project is a great example of our community coming together to serve a real need. For Team, it's also been a little bit like coming home. Our superintendent here, Derek Starling, and our president, Ryan Dooley, were the same team who also built the Lincoln Place 1 building. As builders, we don't always get to come and see the long-term effect of our efforts, and so for them, it's been deeply gratifying to get to come back not only to see, but to help extend the good work done here by Share and the VHA. Now, this project really should be seen as a completion of the promise of Lincoln Place 1. Not only did our team draw on the lessons learned to inform the design, pricing, and construction, but great care was taken to ensure that the off-site parking, amenities, and functions would serve both buildings. We created a new connection between the buildings and reworked the access control and entry flow and made sure that both buildings came together seamlessly. I've had the privilege of being involved now on over a half a dozen projects with the VHA and Access Architecture, including being on board right from the start on this project. And I have to say that we work all over the Northwest, and I think there's something very special about the affordable housing community in Vancouver, and this project illustrates it well. We're a practical group with the desire to get something done which will improve our city, not just right now, but for years to come. The secret sauce here really is all of you. Sasha and Access always ensure that the design of our public buildings are practical, beautiful, and long-lasting. Andy and Heather at the VHA team do a fantastic job of pushing, listening, and analyzing the needs of all the stakeholders so that every dollar spent on projects goes where the final users need it most. Our government officials at all levels are committed to and come through with the necessary investments to make these projects happen. And finally, for all of us on the construction side, Clark County really is a special place. It wasn't only us, but many of the subcontractors that were here also built the first Lincoln Place building. The pride of community, care, and effort that these men and women speaks for itself in the high level of craftsmanship and the professionalism that they displayed every day. It's their effort, combined with all of you, that allowed us to bring this beautiful building into being. We at Team are humbled and extremely grateful to have been part of another great project. I again want to thank the entire team for all their great work, and we look forward to working with you all for the next 30 years. Call us when you're ready for Lincoln 3.
Thank you, Aiden. As JJ had mentioned, Peace Health has been a valuable partner to Vancouver Housing Authority in supporting whole person care for residents at Lincoln Place 1 and other permanent supportive housing sites. No one embodies this commitment more strongly than our next speaker, Sarah Ichiki, nurse at Lincoln Place 1 and lead on setting up the medical clinic at Lincoln Place 2.
Okay, so yeah, my name is Sarah, and I have actually worked at Lincoln Place for since its opening about 10 years ago, and 5 of those years I've been able to work there as a nurse with Project Hope, and that stands for Housing Outreach and Primary Care Expansion. And when we started that project, our goal was to decrease ER visits by connecting folks with a primary care provider on site in the building. And I do think that the data showed that we reached that goal, but through our patient-centered care and by having a medical clinic on patients' own turf and on their own timing, we were able to accomplish so much more. A few examples: we've cured a number of folks of hepatitis C. We've been able to connect a number of folks with behavioral health providers in the community, which has stabilized them as well as their housing. We've been able to help folks transition in care, higher or lower levels of care depending on what they want and need. And when I was thinking of writing this speech, I thought of maybe one of my favorite examples of how our clinic has just shaped medical care for the folks in permanent supportive housing. And we had a gal that was living at Lincoln Place. Unfortunately, she has passed away, but she had a long history of sexual trauma, and with the encouragement and help of her case manager, she would come down and see us week after week, and she'd stop in and say hi, and then she'd leave, and she'd come back, and the next week, and we'd give her options and choices, and she pretty much was resistant to care, just very mistrustful, which is, it speaks for itself. But a few weeks and months later, after coming and saying hi and leaving, she allowed our primary care provider to do a pelvic exam and a routine pap smear. And I think someone who, with that long-standing sexual trauma, to agree to that level of care is just really speaks to how important it is to be on patients' timing and on their turf and meet them where they're at. And so I think with the expansion of Lincoln Place 2, we're definitely going to be able to see more stories like that come to life. And, we've been operating out of the Lincoln Place staff break room the past 5 years. And so we get a clinic of our very own in this building. And I think that will allow us to provide more hygienic wound care. It'll allow us to have a designated space to collect lab samples and data that we need to progress patient care. It'll just give more privacy so we can have just difficult conversations that need to be had. And I just really want to thank all the caring people in this room and all the people that came together to make this possible. Through this, you're showing how much you value and care about the most vulnerable in our community, and it really gives me hope for the future. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you, Sarah. And finally, I am pleased to introduce Angie Silver, CEO of Vancouver Housing Authority.
Thank you, Kit, and thank you for all coming out today. This is really quite special. It's hard to believe that it's been almost 10 years since we opened Lincoln Place 1, and then I look at my hairline and it seems about right. But when you think about all that we've done together in the community around homelessness in that time frame, it really is incredible. And yet we see all around us the need is still there. So I want to extend some special thank yous today. To start off, the VHA Board of Commissioners, which has remained steadfast, committed to serving those who are the farthest away from the housing market, even in tough times. You heard from Duana, Carol Collier, another commissioner, is with us. There might be others, I didn't see anybody. But a huge thank you to the leadership of VHA. And of course, it doesn't just take leadership, it takes people to actually do all of the work that we're hearing about. So Scott Sharba, who was the development project manager on this project and had to get, there you are, sorry. Scott Sharba, who got all the funding together and all the project through closing, et cetera. Heather Vo, who was the construction project manager and took it over from there. Michelle Inman, our property manager, who with SAC and her team not only gave tons of input through the process, but now get to do the wonderful work of welcoming people in. JJ, your team at Share, for both helping out, getting us to here, and all the incredible work that's to come. It really is a special day. I'm not going to go over and thank all of the partners again, but it really takes everybody to do something like this. This is a special community. This doesn't get done every place. We should be very proud of ourselves. And we are now going to move to the main entrance and do the official ribbon cutting.
3, 2, 1.